Hello Outcasts and welcome to Elite Dangerous, and at the moment this is just gameplay going on in the background, but today I'm going to be talking about stuff compared from Elite Dangerous to Star Citizen. So in the first topic we're going to be talking about the New Horizons addition, expansion, whatever you want to call it, to the game and kind of what I think about it. So first off, I'm just going to state that it's not out yet, it's for pre-order. And some of the stuff that's going to be in it is actually kind of relevant to Star Citizen as well, because some of the features of it. And yeah. So first of all, it costs £40. Why would it cost £40 when we've already paid for the game? And I may be wrong, but I think I remember something about them saying they were going to add it as a free expansion anyway. But now, for some reason, it's a pre-order. Some of the features on that in the expansion is kind of very similar, as it's got planetary landing, so you can go and explore planets. Star Citizen will have that. Multi-crew, Star Citizen pretty much already does have that, because in the new update that's coming out very soon, it will have multi-crew features, but I have a feeling the multi-crew features in Star Citizen will be a lot better than Elite Dangerous, because Elite Dangerous is the game where you can only sit in your cockpit and just look at what's going on around you, and you can't really move, you just fly your ship. And I don't want some sort of scenario where one guy's just sitting in the pilot seat and one guy's sitting in the gunner seat, because that would be terrible for Elite Dangerous if they had that. But then again, that's just keeping up the theme of what they've already got with the whole you could just sort of sit there, you can't really walk about in your ship like Star Citizen has. You can do that, but at the moment it's kind of a bit difficult because there's no local physics, so there's no gravity on board the ship. But they will have that in the new update that comes out very soon. So Star Citizen pretty much already has those features, and as long as you've pledged this package, you get all of that stuff anyway, where with Elite Dangerous, the game costs about £40 and then you have to pay extra £40. I'm saying £40 was the original price. That's how much I paid for it, and then you have to pay an extra £40 if you want all the extra stuff, and it's releasing in parts as well. But enough about that. There's another thing that's going on with Star Citizen, which I'm worried for, because they've talked about having procedural generation, because I think that's a good idea, but looking at Elite Dangerous, it's got so many systems. It's not procedural, I don't think, but it is like a one-to-one copy of our galaxy, like in size at least. They do have some systems accurate, but I don't really like the idea of having procedural generation for Star Citizen, because that could be what ruins it in a way. Because if you think about Elite Dangerous, there's so many systems that you hardly ever see players. You hardly ever see them because there's just too many systems all the time. You only occasionally see some AI going around. You don't see that many people. You feel so alone in the game, and the whole idea of Star Citizen was that it was a living, breathing universe. It can't really be a living, breathing universe if you go venture out into the unknown and never see anyone. But maybe that just means that could be that they encourage you to stay near the main systems that are already in the game, which you can see on the star map if you go onto the RSI website. And that maybe all these new systems in procedural generation are like, unknown territory, so if you go there you may not be able to come back because you don't know how to plot a route back, so maybe that might be a thing, but we'll see. But I don't want it to do an Elite Dangerous where you never see any players, because there's just there's so many systems. I mean, you can use the star map to find out where all players are, but still I don't want that whole infinite way. You can go everywhere, you'll always see people, because there's only going to be 20 million AI, and 20 million is a lot, but if you've got an infinite universe, then you're never going to see anyone. So yeah, there's that. But in lighter news, we do have an organisation of Star Citizen now. Me and Hurricane Turtle do have a company. It's called the Odin Initiative. It's a private military company, and we are recruiting, so if you're interested then feel free to apply. But first of all, I think you should listen to some of the stuff that I have to say about it, and also read up a little bit about us on our organisation page, which will be linked in the description. So yes, we are recruiting, but we're not recruiting that many people, so in your application try and convince us if you really do want to be a part of it, because we're not going to take people that just want to sort of casually join, because we want active people. So the whole idea of the company is that we do exploration as well as security. So we do want to explore into dangerous space like Vandal territory and try and find some stuff, maybe find a Bengal or something, you never know. But we do provide security as well, so we'll be hired out to go take out, bandits or anything. We're not going to be like a lawless people. We're not going to be like pirates. We're not going to be wanted, so don't have to worry about that if you're worried about us ending up being, enemies of the state. So that's not going to be a thing, so don't worry about that. But we're going to have an Idris M as our main ship, and I'm pretty confident we will have an Idris M because Hurricane Turtle sent a ticket a little while ago to CIG support about asking if they had an Idris M just as a standalone ship available, and we did get a response from Sandy Gardner, and then we didn't get a response later on after about a month. But then recently, yesterday, as of this recording yesterday, we got a response from someone else asking if we were still interested, which we are. And so maybe by the time this video goes out we would have already got an Idris or not, but I'm assuming we will. So we'll have an Idris M as our main capital ship, and that is called Odin. That's why it's called the Odin Initiative, because of the ship name and everything like that. And I will have my own saber, which I haven't really named yet, but I want to name it because that'd be cool. But yeah, so we'll be doing that. We are recruiting. We'll probably have about 4 or 5 pilots, maybe. It depends on how big, like how much the Idris can hold. So we'll see when AC2 comes out if the Idris is available and fly ready for AC2. So yeah, there is a bit of a process when it comes to hiring you and training and all that kind of stuff. We do have sort of an interview thing. We have a little bit of a checklist that's like general information, what your name is so we know how to call you, what we'll call you and everything, your age, because we don't want 2 young people being in, because in case they get in command people may not like that and it creates issues. So we want to just know your age. You can tell us roughly your age if you don't want us to know your exact age. Your interest in what you want to do, so what you want to be doing on board the ships, if you want to be a pilot, a marine. There's a lot of squads, so we have captain, which would be Hurricane Turtle, chief officer, which is me, deck officer, pilot / marine, engineer / medic, and trainee, in that order of like high to low. And just because you're a trainee doesn't mean you're at the bottom of the bottom. It just means we haven't sorted you into your category yet, and that doesn't mean engineer, medic are the lowest below pilot and marine. They're fairly equal. It's just the order that we've put them in. But captain, chief officer and deck officer are like the 3 main important ones. So we'll only have a few deck officers because a deck officer will be in charge of a squad, and we'll split pilots and marines into a squad of like depending on how many there are, so that way the deck officer will be in charge of those people, but not sort of in charge as in like you do everything they say, but just so that they'll be like the spokesperson, because that deck officer will then come and talk to the chief officer, which will talk to the captain. So there's a bit of a process for it. And so obviously each one will be split into their own squad. There'll be a training squad, and then there'll be a squad for the engineers and medics, which will have their own deck officer. There'll be a deck officer for the training squad, and there'll be squads depending on how many pilots and marines there are as well. So that's how it's going to work. We have a little bit of a form for you to fill out once you've applied, if we accept you in, and you've got to fill it all out. We don't accept you in straight away, but yeah. And then once, assuming you get past the interview phase and we hire you, we'll train you for that role that you want, if we have space for it. If not, we'll tell you, and then you can decide if you want to get a different role, if you don't want to join after all. So assuming you want to stay, we'll train you for a role, and then we'll assign you to a squad depending on what role you've got. And then that is pretty much the process. So once you're in, we'll give you more information and everything about it. But if you want to read up a bit more, go to our org site. I'm assuming by the time this video is out, we'll have it all written up. We're going to work on that today as of this recording. We're going to write up the history, the manifesto and the charter and all that kind of good stuff. So hopefully everything will be going by that point. Hopefully we'll have an Idris and we'll be ready to start recruiting properly. But I'm hoping you'll find this interesting. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen. I hope you'll find our org interesting. And I hope to see you in the next video.